It was a quiet Thursday morning in Maplewood Grove, the kind of day where the sun spills golden light over tidy lawns and kids' bikes lean against picket fences. That calm shattered when four police SUVs roared into the cul-de-sac, tires squealing, lights flashing red and blue like a fever dream. I stood on my front porch, gripping a worn manila folder stuffed with legal papers, my heart pounding as officers swarmed the house next door. My neighbor, Linda Harper, the iron-fisted HOA president who'd turned my life into a waking nightmare for 8 months, was about to get what was coming. As handcuffs snapped around her wrists, her voice sharp as a shard of glass cut through the air. "This is outrageous. I'm the head of this HOA. You can't do this to me." Her face was flushed, her sleek auburn bob a tangled mess for the first time ever. Neighbors peeked out from behind curtains, some stepping onto their porches, whispering and pointing. Old Mr. Thompson from across the street shook his head, muttering, while the Parkers whipped out their phones, capturing every second of the chaos. Linda's eyes met mine for a split second, and I swear I saw pure venom. But let me take you back to how this all started, because this isn't just about a nosy neighbor. This is about a woman who tried to steal my homemi, everything, and almost got away with it. 8 months ago, I'd finally done it. After years of grinding as a single dad, juggling 2 jobs, and pinching every penny, I bought a cozy 4-bedroom Craftsman in Maplewood Grove. The place was perfect, quiet streets lined with oaks, kids playing in sprinklers, and an HOA I thought would just keep things neat. I had no clue I'd stepped into Linda Harper's personal fiefdom. Linda, mid-50s, was the kind of woman who wore tailored blazers to grab coffee and carried herself like she owned the world. Her auburn hair was always perfect, her smile cold as ice. She'd been HOA president for a decade, ruling like a queen nobody dared cross. Within days of MOVYing in, she showed up at my door, clipboard in hand, her lips curled in a smile that never touched her eyes. "Welcome to Maplewood," she said, all sugar. "I'm Linda Harper, HOA president. I like to personally check new properties to ensure they meet our standards." What followed was a military-grade inspection. She measured my mailbox post, squinted at my lawn like it had personally offended her, and snapped photos of my flower beds. She pointed out my house numbers were 2 inches too small, my doormat was too rustic, and my trash bins lingered curbside 7 minutes past pickup time. By the time she left, I had my first violation notice, complete with a due law 75 fine. The violations kept coming, relentless as rain. My porch light was too harsh. My truck was parked an inch off center. The windshield on my patio, unauthorized outdoor decor. Each notice came with fines, due law 50 here, due law 150 there. I tried fighting back at HOA meetings, but Linda would just tilt her head, flash that patronizing smile, and say, "Rules are rules, Mr. Bennett. We can't make exceptions." The other homeowners sat silent, eyes down, too scared to challenge her. I learned Linda had ruled unchallenged for years. Anyone who ran against her got buried in fines until they backed off. She turned the HOA into her personal empire, and I was her new punching bag. Things got worse when I planted a small herb garden in my backyard, tucked behind a privacy fence. It was my land, my space, but somehow Linda knew. She showed up the next day, clipboard ready, her voice dripping with fake regret. Her garden's violated our landscaping guidelines, I'm afraid. You'll need to rip it out or face due law 100 daily fines. I'd had enough. "Linda," I said, trying to keep calm, "show me the exact rule that bans herbs." Her smile twitched just for a second before she doubled down. "It's under the aesthetic harmony clause. All plantings must align with community standards." I demanded the specific wording. She said she'd send it. She never did. That's when Linda's tactics turned sinister. She started whispering to neighbors that I was planning to turn my yard into a filthy farm, claiming my basil and thyme were attracting rats. Then she began popping up on my property at odd hours dusk, early morning claiming she was inspecting shared spaces. I caught her once, standing by my shed taking photos. It was creepy, but I didn't know how dark it would get until a certified letter arrived 3 months ago. It was from the county recorder's office, and it stopped my heart. The letter said my property's ownership was under dispute. There were issues with my deed, and I had 30 days to appear at the county office or risk losing my home. I read it twice, my hand shaking. I bought this house through a trusted realtor, used a title company, had insurance, everything was legit. But this letter was real, stamped with case numbers and legal jargon. I called the county, and what they told me made my stomach lurch. My deed had been flagged for irregularities, and a new deed, filed just weeks earlier, named Linda Harper as the owner of my house. The clerk said someone had submitted documents claiming my purchase was fraudulent, and Linda was the rightful owner. I was floored. I'd never met Linda before moving here. No connection, no history, nothing. Yet she convey and said the county her deed was valid. If they ruled in her favor, I'd lose everything. My home, my savy, NGS, my son's stability. I'd be homeless, and Linda would own the house I'd pour my life into. I drove to the county office that day, fury and fear battling inside me. What I found there was worse than I'd imagined. Linda's deed was a fake and a sloppy one. My signature was scrawled in a shaky hand, nothing like my own. The document claimed I'd sold her the house for due law one laughable. The notary stamp was from someone whose license expired 4 years ago. I knew I needed help fast. I hired Emily Carter, a real estate lawyer who'd seen her share of property scams. When I showed her the papers, her jaw tightened. This isn't just harassment, she said. This is attempted theft on a massive scale. Linda's playing a dangerous game. Emily filed an injunction to freeze any action on the fake deed and brought in Dr. Michael Lee, a forensic document expert who'd worked with the FBI. His report was a slam dunk. Linda's deed wasn't just forget it, was amateur hour. Wrong paper, wrong ink, signatures clearly traced. She'd even used whiteout to tweak my original deed before copying it, and under UV light, her edits glowed like neon signs. Emily took the EVY Denke to the district attorney's office, where Detective Ryan Sullivan, a white-collar crime specialist, took the case. Sullivan's investigation blew the lid off Linda's operation. She wasn't just after me. She'd been targeting vulnerable neighbors' widows, new families for years. Mrs. Larson, a 78-year-old retiree, nearly lost her home to a fake lien Linda filed over unpaid HOA dues. The Nguyen family was fighting a forged contract that gave Linda rights to their property over fines. Sullivan uncovered a pattern. Linda used her HOA roll to spot easy marks, filed fraudulent documents with the county, and banked on overworked clerks missing the fakes. She then bullied homeowners into paying her or GIVYing up their homes. For 6 weeks, Sullivan built his case while Linda kept up her attacks. She slapped me with more violations, tried to lien my property, even called the utility company to cut my water, claiming I was delinquent. But I held on, knowing her time was running out. Then came that Thursday morning. I was sipping coffee when the police rolled in. From my porch, I watched Sullivan knock on Linda's door. She answered, all haughty confidence, probably thinking she could charm her way out like always. Linda Harper, Sullivan said, you're under arrest for forgery, identity theft, and attempted grand theft. Her face was a MOVE shock, denial, then raw panic. This is absurd, she screeched. I'm the HOA president. That house is mine. I have the deed. Sullivan didn't blink, just cuffed her as she ranted. Neighbors gathered, some gasping, others nodding like they'd seen this coming. As Linda was marched to the squad car, she spotted me. Her eyes burned with rage. You'll regret this, the VYD, she screamed. I'll sue you into the ground. You'll never have peace here. The car door slammed, and her voice faded. By noon, local news was all over it. HOA president arrested in shocking property fraud scheme. Linda's mugshot hit the 6 o'clock broadcast hair wild, face twisted in fury. The DA filed 18 felony counts, with up to 25 years in prison on the table. At her arraignment, her lawyer pleaded not guilty, but the EVY Denke was a mountain she couldn't climb. The judge set bail at due law $300,000 and barred her from contacting anyone in Maplewood. She couldn't pay and stayed behind bars. 3 days later, an emergency HOA meeting, Linda was voted out unanimously. Neighbors who'd cowered under her for years spoke up, sharing stories of her threats and scams. It was like a weight lifted off the neighborhood. For me, it was more than that. My home was safe. My son's future was secure. Linda's reign was over, and Maplewood felt like home again. But here's where it gets messy, and I want to hear from you. Was Linda just a power-hungry bully who got in over her head, or was she a calculated criminal from the start? Should the county share blame for letting her fake deeds slip through? And what about the neighbors who stayed silent? Were they complicit or just scared? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button if this story got your blood pumping, and subscribe for more real-life dramas. Let's keep this conversation going. What would you have done in my shoes?